people who have contributed to develop the industrial policy. So we have passed the first stage. We have a industrial policy at hand, and you are deliberating on developing the strategy. So we understand that the policy is ready. We should be able to forward this one to the cabinet within a short period of time. Sorry, Mr. Rajesh Agrawal, I couldn't address you. So thank you very much, International Center for Trade, and you come forward to assist us in many different ways, starting from the policy formulation. And I was made to understand you have contributed to conduct the program these 2 days as well. So thank you very much for all the support. As Mr. Vananayak mentioned, we expect your continuous assistance on futuristic basis also to develop Sri Lankan industrial policy and for the proper implementation of the same. I went through the listings and also the agenda of yours, so I don't wish to dwell too much on the technical subjects, as you know much better than me about the technicality of the industrial policy and annexures adjusted to that. But as the political leadership, we are fully determined to ensure that whatever the government that come into govern the country, that continuous assistance from the political side is a must. So it's a great pleasure to work with you, and also during last 4 months as the minister I realized the need to develop the industrial policy and the consistency of it. For that, I would try to convince not only the ministry officials, not the parliamentaries, but we'll try to convince the Sri Lankan population at large that we need to have that policy. We have certain policies covering certain subjects in this country, but this is paramount important and timely that we look into the industrial sector. So during last 73 years, if you look at broadly, post-independence era of Sri Lanka, I know politicians have been heavily criticized. I can't salvage them, but we have achieved certain milestones in relation to different subjects of the country. During last 73 years, what we have achieved in the health sector is remarkable. Always World Health Organization highlights Sri Lanka as one of the best countries in the world which provides better quality health care in having spent a very decent sum of money. With that support, we have come to world level in relation to maternal mortality rate reduction, infant mortality rate, life expectancy at birth, so on and so forth. The list goes on. So we have come to a very reasonable level. And education-wise also, we have come to a very decent level, starting from one university in 1948 to 18 universities, from 3,000 schools to 10,000 schools, and especially the school enrollment rate from 52% in 1948 to 99% today. So the successive governments of the day had spent significant sum of money from their budget for the educational development, the health development, and also infrastructure development. In later years, a significant amount for the defense spendings. Unfortunately, the country was enveloped in a civil war for 30 long years. But once you look at the numbers, it's very clear. Even today, the government, the spending, the government contribution, rather industrial sector was very low. Say for an instance, if you consider this year, we spent about 300 billion rupees for the defense budget, another 140 billion for the health sector, nearly, another 120 billion for the education, nearly another 50 billion for the agriculture sector, including the fertilizer subsidy. But industry ministry gets only about 5 billion rupees. So that was the historical picture. So government investment was very low. So how can the country to go towards industrialization and development and more contribution towards the GDP when the government involvement was low, and also there is no trust in relation to the industrial development of the country? I personally believe the investment from the government side in the agriculture sector had provided its benefits to the people. We didn't have enough food to eat in 1950. Our country's population was 10 million at that time. We have 20 million as against that 10 million after 70 years. But we didn't have enough food to eat. That's why we had to enter that rubber rice pact with China in 1952. That is 72 years ago. So 10 million people of the country didn't have enough to eat, but we are self-sufficient in rice production. But how long can we go ahead with that? There is no value addition in the agricultural sector. It's very limited in time to come. But we can manage that. I've looked at the tea sector and the rubber sector. There's nothing much that happens in relation to value addition part of the tea sector and the rubber sector, but we can do little more. But the potential covering the subject of industrialization of the industry is enormous. We're just not even at the threshold of reaching the benefits imparted from the fourth industrial revolution. Forget about the first, second, and third ones. We couldn't even get anything from those three, but we have enormous potential. The country's best resource is the human capital of this country, so we can harness that potential. So in relation to that, you should provide us the necessary inputs, you should provide the government, and you should direct the people of this country towards that achievement and the goals. So we are very happy. I was going through the different listings. Unfortunately, I missed the presentation by Professor Abeyratna. So we are reading your letters, sir. So in papers. So it's very important, like the policy, we should put those into action. So whatever the support we can provide from the government, given the backdrop of this economic scenario, it's a little difficult, we know, even 2023 would be a difficult one, but our priorities should change now. So we try to convince the government in whatever the possible manner, Finance Ministry, with the able leadership of the Ministry Secretary, Mrs. Jayasundara. So she is a very capable person. You listen to the speech of hers, so she has a very clear vision. With the support from the Finance Ministry, we should be able to get more assistance to go forward. It would be very interesting to listen to. I was looking at the agenda. Professor Ajit Diallis as well, knowledge-based creative industry. So before I leave, if I can listen to him, it would be, we have heard his name. He's been a mastermind in relation to Sri Lankan industrial sector development. So that would be a very interesting area to listen. I'm not undermining the other sectors, other 9 areas you have highlighted, but it's very interesting to understand what sectors we can highlight and develop on futuristic basis. We had a very difficult time during Corona time, so the whole world was enveloped in this pandemic. But as the silver lining of the dark cloud, I always say that Sri Lankan manufacturing sector and export sector performed reasonably well in our own small way. We are just getting $13 billion. It's a small sum of money considering some of the other countries, but they improved themselves. During that time, people have started developing new sectors, manufacturing sectors. So the Sri Lankan pharmaceutical sector is an example for that. So they are doing well. If Bangladesh can do that, if India can do that, if Pakistan can do that, why can't Sri Lankans do it? So they have done their bit. We were looking at different sectors. Is it the electrical component? Is it the ICT sector? Is it the elderly care segment with new machinery development? Is it the pharmaceuticals? Is it the assembly of the motor vehicles? Is it the mineral value addition? You let us know what is the potential for the country, what is the market size of the world, what best we can do with the Sri Lankan human capital to develop the industrial sector. That's the most important one, so that we can extend our hand to implement those in the country, and we can give that larger vision to the people of this country so that they will understand. Our young people are they're very brainy, they can understand anything, they are much ahead of us considering the ages, so they are much ahead of us. We should be able to, if we can impart that knowledge, if we can show them, if we can direct them in relation to the different market needs and the different segments, the worldwide and the Sri Lankan wise for the import substitution and also for the export promotions, that would be the great thing that we can do. So I think we should be able to do that with your support. So let me thank again on behalf of the plantation industry, having come forward to contribute meaningfully to develop the policy and also to help us to strategize the future. So thank you, Dr. Rajesh Agrawal, and also thank you all the eminent personalities who have contributed. Let us meet again. Let us work more closely to ensure that we do this for the betterment of the Sri Lankan people. So thank you very much and have a pleasant evening.